Now, in total contrast, special performances are taking place today to mark the 150th anniversary of the birth of one of Britain's greatest composers, perhaps Britain's greatest composer, Edward Elgar. Elgar is famous, of course, for a string of symphonies and concertos, and his face used to grace the back even of £20 notes. One person marking the event in two different locations is Julian Lloyd Webber, who's just performed the famous Elgar Cello Concerto at Worcester Cathedral, and is on his way to do the same at the Royal Albert Hall tonight. He joins us now, live en route at Battersea Heliport. Julian, thank you for joining us. You just stepped off a helicopter from Worcester. How did the...
That's right.
It's a marvellous setting, Worcester, very at the heart of Elgar country. How did that go?
That's right. It was wonderful, actually. I mean, it's just a very special atmosphere. That's really why I wanted to do it. I just always knew there would be. He's loved around that area, and the place was absolutely packed, and they were absolutely silent. It was just a very magical atmosphere.
Now, this concerto is, we all know, it's demanding artistically. How demanding is it emotionally to perform this work, especially twice in one day?
Yes, I mean, I've never done anything like this before, and I almost certainly never will again. But it is emotionally demanding. It's an unusual piece. It's a very, very concentrated piece of music. I mean, I'm just about young enough to get away with it, I think.
Why is it such an enduring work?
It's got so much in it. I mean, I've played the piece very many times, and I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to say it. People often do say it about music, but I really do find new things in it every time. It's an extraordinary, and probably the most emotional piece of British music I know. It's just so much inside it. And of course, it sums up the end of an era, really. It was written just after the First World War. Elgar's wife was very ill. The world had changed, and there's so much depth in that music. It's really quite extraordinary.
There's been a minor bait of Elgar revisionism. You know, the knockers have been out. You know, he's not a world-class composer. What's your answer to that?
I find it very strange. I think it's only sort of in this country that would happen. We can't seem to genuinely celebrate anything, and I think that's why people get so sort of wondering what being British means. I mean, if we can't celebrate such a great composer who is known and loved all over the world, there's something really very odd about it. I don't understand it. Apparently it all happened on his centenary 50 years ago, and the same sort of things were said, but basically Elgar's music has grown and grown. People really love it. The reaction from audiences just says it all, really, and I don't understand it. It just seems something in our character that we have to take our best things and run them down.
Before I ask the next question, we're just going to pause, Julian, and listen to a little bit of the music. Well, that was you in Worcester Cathedral today. I was listening to Radio 3 this morning. Their wonderful
I was wondering who that was.
Their CD review, and they were talking about another fabulous Elgar piece, the introduction Allegro for strings. And I didn't realise that Elgar was such a good string player himself. Is that why
he's a viola player?
Yeah. Is that why he can write such sumptuous pieces for a string player like yourself?
Well, you know, I think Elgar was a very remarkable musician because he was basically self-taught. Britain had never produced a composer like that before, and he apparently never changed a note of any score he wrote. The full orchestral score, he went to the rehearsals and he never felt it necessary to change anything. So it wasn't just a string instrument. He wrote wonderfully for the whole symphony orchestra.
Is it going to be difficult for you tonight playing the same piece with a different composer, with a different conductor?
I don't think so. You've got a different conductor, different orchestra, completely different audience. Also, the Royal Albert Hall is a place very closely associated with Elgar. To be honest, I can't wait.
Well, we're not going to delay you any further in that case. Julian Lloyd Webber, thank you for speaking to us.
Okay, thank you very much. Pleasure.